Okay, hello. Hey guys. Welcome everyone. I want to take the time to share my thoughts on the murder of George Floyd. First, I want to send my heart out to his family. I pray that all of you are covered with love and strength during these extremely distressing times. We are all feeling the effects of what is occurring in the world collectively, and I know the pain is great. I want to make it clear that I stand with all of you as we stand up for ourselves in one of the darkest hours this world has seen in some time. Now, as I was processing this event, a few things popped up that I want to share with you. Now, there's a lot of symbolism surrounding the story, which leads me to think that this is a psyop, a ritualistic psyop. Now, what is a psyop? A psyop is short for a psychological operation. They're operations to convey selected information and indicators to audience to influence their emotions, motives, and objective reasoning, and ultimately the behavior of governments, organizations, groups, and individuals. So let's get into the symbolism of this event so we can see what kind of selected information they are trying to convey. The first thing I want us to look at is the name George Floyd. Let's take George. George means tiller of the earth or farmer. And Floyd means gray-haired. Now, in this ritualistic psyop, George Floyd, as being a melanated man, represents the indigenous and aboriginal ancient, right? The gray hair represents ancient and farmer, tiller of the earth, the first person who worked with the earth, right? The indigenous people that they are now calling black and brown and colored. Right? George, tiller of the earth, farmer. Floyd, gray-haired, the ancient farmer, the aborigine. Now let's look at Derek Chauvins. Derek means ruler of the people, or gifted ruler. And Chauvins, right? Let's look at this etymology. Right? Chauvins connects to chauvinistic, right, or chauvinism, meaning exaggerated, blind nationalism, patriotism degenerated into a vice, right? Excessive belief in the superiority of one's race. And the other word, chauvins, is also French for bald, right? Which could be a play on a skinhead, right? Someone with this blind nationalism, the patriotism, the belief in superiority of one's race, right? I cannot make this up. A ruler of the people who thinks that they're better than everyone else, who's, has this exaggerated blind nationalism, Derek Chauvins, right? So what do we have here? We have an indigenous man of the earth, the ancient farmer, killed by a chauvinistic pig who's named the ruler of the people, right? It's the establishment versus the free, the indigenous versus the colonizer. I also want to take this moment to note that they have switched the symbolism here. It's interesting that both of these men's last name have something to do with hair, or lack thereof. Chauvins meaning bald, Floyd meaning gray-haired. In this situation, George Floyd actually is a bald person, and Derek Chauvins has the gray hair. Now, it's interesting because as they want us to swap roles, the ancient farmer was the one who was able to grow old, right? He was attached to the land, which sustained him and gave him life, so that he was able to reach an old age, right? It's another part of this gray-haired ancient farmer thing, which now this colonist, this person, Derek Chauvins, who's representing the establishment, the ruler of the people, they have now stolen that from the indigenous, right? That goes to the whole entire thing where these elite are trying to live forever by using black people's organs and melanin, right? Let's think about that. They want to turn us into the crazy ball heads. Right? They want to turn us into the crazy ball heads. Because our hair is strength, right? So I just wanted to put that out there, the swapping of the roles, right? Using the names of the hair, and this psyop. The one who's supposed to have gray hair is bald, and the one who is supposed to be bald has the gray hair. And this is also connected to the Kaepernick knee ritual too. Now, why was that a ritual, right? It was a ritual because it had our people bending the knee during a song that we were supposed to be protesting. Now, what is wrong with taking a knee to protest, you may ask? Now, let's look at some definitions of bending the knee, right? According to the Free Dictionary, it says it means to kneel or submit, or to force someone into submission, or to cause something to be in a weakened or impoverished state. Right? To bend the knee, it's submissive. Get on your knees. Think about Game of Thrones. No self-respecting man or woman on that show would willingly bend the knee to their oppressor if they did not have to. All right, let's look at their definition. It says, it's a formal act of submission to a king or queen or lord, a recognition of authority, and a demonstration of fealty. It is common for surrendering parties to bend the knee after being defeated in a war or rebellion. In return, the ruling king or lord usually treats those that bend the knee with leniency. For instance, Torrhen Stark, the king of the north, bent the knee to Aegon the Conqueror to spare the lives of the people of the north, and was named Lord Paramount of the North by Aegon in return, right? You bend the knee and after you've been conquered, and because of that you might be offered a position, right? You can become the cops, right? So, let's take a look at this scene where Khaleesi is reminding what she thinks is Torrhen's descendant, Jon Stark, of his ancestors' choice to bend the knee.
Honor the pledge your ancestor made to mine. Bend the knee, and I will name you Warden of the North.
It takes no time to bend the knee. Pledge your soul to her cause. And why would I do that?
Right, you see that? Pledge your soul to her cause. It takes nothing, just pledge your soul to the cause. So that is what we were unknowingly doing by taking a knee during the anthem. They have played these psychological games on us to make us think we're taking a stand when we're really doing one of the most submissive acts, which is bending the knee. We're literally submitting to the oppression that we oppose and pledging our souls to it. My goodness. So, here we go with this knee thing again, right? We have Derek Chauvins, the ruler of the people, right? This blind nationalistic ruler of the people. He is bending the knee on the gray-haired ancient farmer tiller of the earth. Now, who is he bending the knee to? Think about that. I'm talking about the cop who is now bending the knee. Let's think about this definition, right? You bend the knee and you get a position, right? They bend the knee for a position of power, and what do they have to do? Their job is to keep their knee, their foot on our necks. The ancient farmers' necks, the indigenous people's necks. That's why we have racism in this country. We have racism in this country because, we're the indigenous people of the planet. It's really deep, you guys. It's really deep. Now, these cobs, their ancestors once bent the knee And now they have joined the ranks of the soldiers of the very establishment that conquered their ancestors at one point. Just like so many of our people. I mean, and that is what happens when an empire is going around conquering people. You get some of the tribes to bend the knee, and a part of that treaty is always a clause that states that they must help protect the colony. And they turn on any free person who hasn't submitted yet, among other things. Now, this is really the root of the division amongst so-called black people, and also with other nations as well. I mean, I'll get into that subject into more detail in another video. I want to focus on how this has affected our people. Our people have been deeply divided on what to do with the colonization problem, or whatever you want to call it. The racism problem, the fact that we have these people out here killing us. I mean, some of us have become aware that black and all of the other labels they have given us, like Negro, colored, African American, etc., they're all just legal terms that have no standing in law, and rightfully these people want to correct that, right? And some of us think that if we call ourselves Indians, that'll fix the problem, or Moor, that'll fix the problem, or Israelite, right? And not to mention those of us who haven't even been enlightened to the detriment of the word black. And I think that those of us who no longer claim black are just self-hating Negroes, which has even further divided us. And we need to stand as one, the most, right now. Some of us think that if we talk a certain way or get a good education, it will prove that we're worthy in the racist establishment's eyes, when we have never needed their approval in the first place. Some think that if they date white, it will protect them, and they will be spared the harsh realities of being so-called black in America, and I tell you, it won't. In these situations, these racist executioners aren't asking you how you identify before shooting you in the head. They don't care if you speak really well or how many degrees you have. They're not going to ask you if your wife or your husband is white. And honestly, back in the day, they used to hang Negroes for interracial relationships. So, for anybody who understands their history, it's really delusional to think that that last one, dating interracially, is going to save you. This is how backwards our thinking is right now. But still, we have it. There's a portion of our community that will bend over backwards to try to prove their worth to the very people who want them dead. Which really brings me to the last part of this PSYOP ritual, which is George Floyd's fiance, who is so-called white, which really proves a lot. It says he was the type of person who thinks that we can solve the problem by gaining acceptance, which does not mean he should have been murdered. Let me make myself very clear. I am just stating this to fully break down the ritual. Let's hear what she has to say about the situation.
And I've seen it all day today. People hate. They're hating. They're mad. And he would not want that. He wouldn't. He would give grace. He would. I stand on that today he would still give grace to those people.
See, that's it right there, you guys. So-called black man, so-called black woman. No matter if we take your life, show us grace. He would have forgiven them. You know, that's the ritual. So we're fealty to the establishment. Bend the knee on the neck of the ancient ones for a position, and you will have no worries. They will show us grace. And you know, honestly, I haven't been on social media for about 5 years. And I've peeked a little bit to see what people are saying. And, you know, you see a lot. You see a lot. You see on both hands, right? And on one hand, I see some racist people on there, and they've had just disgusting things to say and joke about as far as, what's happened. And I've even seen some black people, wanting to talk about the rioting and all this stuff. And it's like, at the end of the day, fuck Target. Fuck Target. Fuck any of these corporations. These corporations are the slavery, right? These people who have gone into business to enslave us. Property is property. I mean, honestly, that's what the cops are here to do, is to protect the property of certain people, of the establishment, really. People say they're here to protect the property of white people, and in some cases that is true, but it's really the establishment. And so that's why I think it's really interesting as these towns are burning. We're in some towns we're seeing a lot of police presence, but I was just watching one in Minnesota. There was zero police presence. It makes it interesting, right? Because it's like, if you guys are going to show up, and with force for a man who you felt like, or you thought forged a $20 bill, which was what happened in this George Floyd situation. If you guys are going to show up for that, then you would think that people who are literally have taken things out of stores and it's just chaos out there, you think that they would be there. But it's almost like everything is letting things ride. And why? Right? What do they want to come out of this? Like I said, let that shit burn. This establishment doesn't give a fuck about us, and I don't care. I saw somebody's comment about this one lady talking about, and these black men, and all they want to do is riot and all this stuff, and oh my god, and we need those jobs. You guys are gonna leave us as single mothers, and now you're gonna tear down the stores that we need jobs at. And it's like, realizing that so much of our issues as a people stems from the fact that we're enslaved right now. We should not need jobs. They have trained us into thinking we want jobs, we need jobs, we need to get good jobs. When in actuality, we need homes and we need food, right? We need a way to live. And it's not through having to work, right? The only reason why we work is because we need to pay for our home, we need for food every day, and other things like that. How about we just try to get that? This is getting everywhere, though. But on the other hand, like, if I've seen, like I said, both black and white people have negative things to say about this. And I've also seen quite a bit of so-called non-black friends and people standing in solidarity with us, and that is really, really beautiful too. It gives me hope to see my friends from childhood using their voices to speak out about what has happened. It really does, because for a minute there, I had lost hope for everything and everyone, and I was depressed because, like I said, I grew up the only so-called black person in my class, and so it's like all of my, childhood friends and classmates and people my parents know are all, I do have some black friends, so-called black friends, and of course my family, but the majority of people I grew up with were not, and so it has been really hard for me to, want to interact with people who I didn't feel would have my back in the situation. So, those of you who are not black and you are standing up, I thank you. And, like I said, it's giving me hope, because at the end of the day, this conquering of the world has happened to all of us. Black, white, brown, yellow, whatever. And some of our people have chosen to stand in the establishment, and some of our people just want to be free. Which one are you? If you see that this shit is not cool, then I welcome you as an ally. And like I said, I pray for unity and love in the world. And it has been nice to see that. So, I'll leave you guys with that. And again, I'm sending you guys so much love. Always look for the deeper meaning. Alright, talk to you later. Ah.